Oh. I sent him. Will you check with Miles? Sorry, Judge, I'd moved so much stuff around over here, and I was looking for some documents that I was waiting for somebody to bring me from across the street, but I will go without them for the moment. All right. What's your name?
Samantha Ford.
Where are you employed?
I'm a special agent with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation out of the Americus office here in Sumter County, Georgia.
And how long have you been employed by the GBI?
For 9 years.
As a special agent, what's your job in a general sense? I mean, your generalized job duties?
Investigate crime, anything from theft all the way up to murder.
How does the GBI get involved in an investigation, at least typically?
Typically, we're a request agency, so chief of police, sheriff's office, district attorney's office, somebody like that requests us to help with the crime. In this particular case, I got requested by the Georgia Southwestern University campus police.
And when you were requested to become involved in this, when was that?
January 14th, 2024, approximately 2 p.m. in the afternoon.
As part of your investigation, did you at some point obtain information Did you obtain information from various telephones, various cell phones?
Yes, I did.
And whose phones did you seize or obtain by request?
I obtained 2 separate phones from Julian Williams. I obtained a cellular phone from Trinity Poague, and I also gained access and consent to get Paris Permort's phone.
So the phone that you seized from Trinity Poague, or that you got from Trinity Poague, how did you get it?
During the interview that I conducted with Ms. Poague on the January 14th, we were discussing some videos during my interview that she was showing me in her phone. And at that point, I realized there was evidence in her phone, so I seized it.
And did you subsequently get a search warrant to permit you to, or permit the GBI to access the contents of the phone?
Yes, I did.
And after you got the search warrant for the phone, did someone in fact access the phone?
Yes, sir, we did.
Okay, how do you do that?
So we have a device, it's a digital extraction device, and what it does is essentially makes a copy of all the information in the phone at that time, and just makes an entire copy of it. And it doesn't do anything to the device other than copying the information. And so it stores it in a unreadable format, basically. And then you have to create a reader report or like a PDF report or something to be able to access the information inside the phone. Kind of make it easier for you to follow along and read and find information.
Did you, when you accessed the defendant's phone, Ms. Poague's phone, were you able to extract any text messages or instant messages that had been sent between Ms. Poague and Mr. Williams?
Yes, I was.
Speaking of which, is Trinity Poague in the courtroom?
Yes, she is.
Okay, can you kind of identify for us where she is and which individual she is in the courtroom?
Yes, she's sitting at the defense table. She's the middle female in the olive green shirt.
Okay. And you know her not only from result of this investigation, but I mean you have met with her personally and questioned her or interviewed her, filled out an arrest arrest report, went through that whole process, the arrest process, et cetera, with her. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right. So, and this is the same person you got the phone from?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. All right. So, when you access those messages from Ms. Poague to Mr. Williams, one of those messages, well, let me ask you, I'll do it this way. What state's 41? What is that document?
These are messages that were pulled out of, I believe it was Instagram, possibly Facebook. There were a couple of similar social media accounts that had similar names, and off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly which one. But these are messages that are not text messages from cell phone number to cell phone number, but in another format on social media. But this is one from Trinity to Julian, or Jay.
All right.
On
And what's the date and time of it?
December 17th, 2023, and it is, let's see, I'm looking at the time difference. The only reason I'm looking at the time difference is because it's in UTC time. May I explain that real quick?
Yeah, I'll just ask you to do that in a moment anyway, so that's fine. You can go ahead and do that now.
So UTC time is Coordinated Universal Time. It is the time that is, it's whatever time it is at 0 degrees longitude, like the prime meridian, and it establishes a time for the entire world. And then like Eastern Standard Time would be minus 5 hours from that. So you would just subtract 5 off of what UTC time is to get the time, what it is right now. Like March to November, when the time changes, it would be minus 4, if that makes sense.
All right, so UTC time, why do these different reports, these various data sources, computers, phones, et cetera, why do they use UTC time? Do you know?
Well, it's a standard time because it's not, this device that we use, this program, is not only here in Georgia, it's worldwide. So that's their standard to put it in UTC time, because crime doesn't only happen in Georgia, it happens everywhere, and phones change times and all of that, so it keeps it standardized, and then you can change it to whatever time zone you're in, just to make it easier for you.
Right, so you subtract some hours for Eastern Standard Time, you add some hours for time in Asia or other places.
That's correct.
Okay, all right, so you were trying to do the math and subtract 5 from that
Yes, sir.
timestamp?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me now what time that message was sent?
It looks to be around 11:24 p.m.
Okay.
So that would put it on the 10th, December the
And
10th.
December the 10th.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what does that message say?
You want me to read it?
Yes, please.
Jay, I don't know if I can do this anymore. This weekend was a struggle for me, and I don't know what to do. I love you so much, but letting JD hit the wall and see the damage it did really hurt me, and it just lets me know that I don't have JD's best interest at heart. You should not be with a girl that doesn't love your son. I keep trying and trying, but nothing changes. Every time I see him, I cry. I cry because he looks like you, just like you, and a part of me wishes he wasn't yours. I cry because I realize that you and someone else share something so sweet, and that's love for him. I don't know what to do, but I hope you understand where I'm coming from. Like when you called the face expression you gave me. I cannot be around him anymore. I'm sorry. I don't know where that leaves us, but I know that you will never make a decision. I want a family of my own, Jay. Every time I see him, I just want to cry. Seeing him happy and how he is with you at your house and how he is with me, he hates me, Jay. He cries nonstop with me.
All right. Now, I want to ask you to look at a different exhibit. This is from the group main messages that also were extracted from her phone. And then this is the one that to show you State's Exhibit 42, and I'd like for you to tell the jury if you can identify this, and if you need to see I pulled one sheet out of a packet. If you need to see the whole packet in order to identify it, I can address that. Did I tender 41, Your Honor? I thought I did. If I didn't, I would tender Stakes 41.
Any objection to 41?
No objection, Your Honor.
Submitted without objection.
Give me that packet. Do you know what that's from?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is that that you're holding?
These are some messages that I pulled out of Ms. Poague's phone when I extracted the data. So when we do investigations, I'm just a piece of the investigation. You heard from crime scene earlier. I had my supervisor who was out on scene helping me do some interviews. He had done some witness interviews for me and given me information from some of the other witnesses on the hall that there was a group me message that involved several of the other students that were on the same hall as Ms. Poague. And I had pulled these messages out of the group me message between some of them.
But these were messages that were on Ms. Poague's phone.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
That had been sent and in some instances received in the group me text group.
Yes,
right?
sir, that's correct.
Okay, all right. So the message that, so the sheet that you're holding, State's Exhibit 42, is that true and accurate printout of what's included, or at least that portion of what's included in the phone?
Yes, it is.
All right. We tender State's 42.
Any objection?
No objection, Your
All right, submitted without objection.
There's a message on there. Let me think which one. It's the third one on that page. Okay. What's the date and time of that message?
December 10th, 2023. Let's see, that's midnight. Probably about 10:36 p.m. Well, so we back it up. So it's December 9th at about 10:36 p.m.
And that message is to a group of girls in the residence hall where she lives. Is that right?
Yes, sir, based on my understanding of reading the entire thread.
Okay. And what does that message say?
This one says, "Y'all, I'm sorry if you hear this baby cry. He doesn't feel good, so everything he does, he cries about it. I promise I ain't killing him."
And that message was on December the 9th, which was the night before the message saying, "I'm sorry for letting him hit the wall and doing the damage it did," or whatever.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay. When you were examining Ms. Poague's phone, or examining the data that was extracted from Ms. Poague's phone, did you extract some data regarding some internet searches, web searches that were performed on the phone?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And when were the web searches that you were looking at, were there any from January 14th, 2024?
Yes, sir, there were several.
Okay. And can you tell the jury what time were the web searches in question?
I don't remember at this moment, without referring back to some things on exactly when they started, but in a general sense.
Well, if you need to look at your report or your notes, you can do so if you have those.
Yes, I do. So I remember there were some that while we were still at the hospital. So just kind of a recap, I got called about 2 a.m. I don't live here in Sumter County, so it takes me a little bit of time to get over here. We were at the hospital for quite a while, and then we moved from the hospital over to America's Police Department here in town. So there were some at the hospital, and then there were some.
What time were they?
I've got some between 2:30 and 4, and then several more around 7 p.m.
Okay.
But there were also some, there were several around 2:30 p.m.
Okay, 2:30 p.m. on January 14th.
14th.
Okay, all right. What were the web searches? What were the search terms that, or search phrases that Ms. Poague typed into her phone during? We're talking at this time, at this moment, about the 2:30 to 4 o'clock time frame. What were the messages that she typed in?
How do you get a brain bleed? And can a depressed skull fracture go unnoticed? And then there were also some searches on how to deactivate Facebook. And then there were a couple of other searches related to infant brain bleeds.
And those occurred when you say searches related to infant brain bleeds, was infant brain bleed the search term?
I don't remember if that was exactly what it was, but I also noted that there were some that consisted of phrases, what causes infant brain damage, and subarachnoid hemorrhages.
Right. And then you said there were some other web searches, Google searches, that occurred later that same day?
Yes, sir. There were some when I know to her to be Trinity to be at the hospital, but there were some that I know that she was sitting at the police department waiting on me to be interviewed.
So the 2:30 to 4 o'clock messages, those were, or not messages, but searches, those were where it was she would know those were done?
She was at the hospital.
Okay. And then the messages or the searches at 7 p.m., where were those done?
At the Americas Police Department.
Okay. And what terms did those searches include?
The ones around 7, they were searching for images about and information about skull fractures.
Nothing further.
All right, cross-examination.
Agent Ford, you were the, I guess, for lack of a better term, you're the lead investigator for this particular case, correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And so you would be the one in charge of trying to make sure that a thorough and correct investigation was done, correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And of course, when you first got called in, you knew that there was a child that had some severe injuries that led to the death, correct?
That's correct.
And you were aware at that time that the last 2 people that you knew were in close proximity to the child would have been Trinity Poague and the father, Julian Williams, correct?
That's correct.
So naturally, in an investigation, when you first start, the way you start off, most time I think, is the people most in close proximity that might be able to explain what happened or might even be possible suspects, correct?
Generally, yes, sir.
And in addition to those 2 people, as you got to doing your investigation, you were able to discover as well that although Julian Williams had the child was actually living with he and his sister, Ashante Burr, correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And so you also knew that, and in the investigation, if you went a little further, you were able to determine that she really cared for the child more so than Mr. Williams, correct?
I don't really think that's correct, but I think that she did have some significant time caring for the child.
And they lived in Cockwood, Georgia, I believe, correct?
Yes, sir.
And but you did know that Mr. Williams, by interviewing him and whatnot, you were aware that Mr. Williams spent a great deal of time over here at Georgia Southwestern spending the night with Trinity Poague, correct?
That's correct.
And so each night he would be with Miss Poague would be a night, for the most part, that he was not with the child, correct?
Well, I mean, yes, sir. If he was here, he couldn't be there, so I can't
I
tell you.
understand sometimes he took the child with him and they spent the night, but that wasn't all that often, correct?
I mean, I just have what they've told me. I don't know exact timeframes. I know that there were several times when JD has accompanied Mr. Williams here.
Yes. But other than those times, the rest he was by himself, and that would mean that Ms. Burr was left in charge, correct?
I can't tell you exactly where he was and who had him, but from what I've been told, she has been a primary caregiver, yes.
Now, and then in investigating, you interviewed Mr. Williams and Ms. Poague, correct?
Yes, sir, I did.
And they were together when you first saw them at the hospital, correct?
I believe that's right.
I mean, I don't know if they were right side by side, but they were in the proximity of the hospital at the same time, correct?
Yes, sir, they were both at the hospital.
Now, when you interviewed them to begin with, did you put them in the same room and interview them then?
No, sir.
Why not?
That's not common practice for anybody to interview. When I interview people, I do my best not to interview them together, at least initially. So I try to get independent statements from people.
It'd be fair to state that the reason behind that is you want to hear what one person says and then the other and see if they match up?
Yes, sir, you want to get independent statements.
And if you put them in the room together, they tend to feed off each other and maybe you can't get a straight story, correct?
It's possible.
Depends on, I mean, sometimes they may be diametrically opposed and blame each other, but sometimes they may be together and conjure up a story together if you're asking with them there together, correct?
It's possible.
And would I be correct that GBI protocol basically would tell you that when you have that type of situation, you don't want both of them in the same room being interviewed, correct?
I wouldn't necessarily say GBI protocol. I think it's law enforcement in general. I mean, I want to do a thorough investigation. I want independent information. Interview them separately.
And so that's what your training as a law enforcement officer has taught you, correct?
And common sense, sir.
And common sense. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Very good. So you interview Mr. Williams at first, correct? Not necessarily he was the first one interviewed, but you interviewed him. I'm not trying to get a timeline of which one first, but let me just go to your first interview with Mr. Williams, okay?
Okay.
Because I believe it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you had more than one interview with Mr. Williams, correct?
That's correct.
And your first interview, you talked to Mr. Williams about what happened. At that time, he told you that Trinity had called him on the phone, and he gathered from the phone call that there was distress with the child of some sort. She could just hear JD, or something of that nature. And he came back to the dorm room and immediately saw that the child had...
Restate your question. You're asking her what?
I'm asking about what Mr. Williams said. He's already testified, and he's present to testify again. You know?
Whether he's testified or not, it doesn't make that out-of-court statement not hearsay. I mean, if he wants to impeach Mr. Williams, there's a way of doing it. This isn't it.
Okay.